Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean, and I'm going to talk about the Errol Spence Leonard Bundu fight from last night and where Errol Spence goes from here. First of all, it was a very impressive performance from Errol Spence. I expected him to win, and I expected him to win emphatically, but I didn't expect him to knock him out like that. I thought, well, I said in my prediction video that he would, Bundu's corner would probably throw the towel because he was taking too much of a beating. Didn't happen. He got sparked out in the sixth round. Bundu, to be fair, didn't fight as I expected him to either. He fought more aggressively than I thought he would. Possibly had something to do with the fact that straight away I think he realised with Spence's range, like he couldn't really avoid them because he's got, I mean, a really good jab he showed in this fight to the head and to the body as well. The jabs to the body, really quick, coming from long range and hard as well. And I think Bundu must have realised that if I stay at this range, then he's got a reach advantage. He's quicker than me, and he hits fucking hard. You know, if I try and stay at this range, then I'm not really going to be able to do much. So my only chance is to kind of get in on him, try and make it a bit scrappy, and see if I can, have some success there. I mean, he didn't do too badly, and credit to him for giving it a go. But you could tell from quite early on that he was just, I don't know, he kind of must have thought like, I'm too old for this. Spence was just, the thing is with Errol Spence, it seems to me that pretty much every punch he throws is hard. Even the jabs. Yeah, he throws like a jab to the body. Mayweather does a very good jab to the body, and you can see that it, bit by bit, kind of slows them down. I think with Mayweather, he tends to do it very well while they're coming in. His timing is amazing. Errol Spence kind of does it more, or at least in this fight, did it more as an offensive, just sort of coming in, because he does that and then just boom, like really quick, fast, hard jab to the body. Bundu, you can see in his face, he was just like, so every punch he was hitting him with really was hurtful, and yeah, and he just like took him out in the sixth round. So yeah, very impressive performance. Um, yeah, I wanted to make a point though, because like this is something he deserves a lot of credit for this performance, and he's generally got a lot of credit for this performance. But this is a person who's Leonard Bundu fought against Frankie Gavin in England, like what was it, 2 years ago, maybe even more. I think 2 years ago, he fought Frankie Gavin in England and pretty much went life or death with him. It was a very close fight. Could really have gone either way. To be honest, I saw it like a couple of years ago, so maybe it was not quite as close as I remember. But it was, whichever way you look at it, they're kind of pretty much the same level. Frankie Gavin thought he got robbed. I don't think he did. From what I remember, I thought, yeah, Bundu probably deserved to win. But the point is, they are basically at the same level. So he fights Bundu and just blasts him out and gets credit for it, in my opinion, like deservedly so. But people are saying that this now proves that he is the best out there, that Keith Thurman will be like terrified of him, that this is the reason why Kell Brook won't come back to 147, and that by doing this to Bundu, that this shows that he is by far the best, and it proves that he is the best out there. Whereas Kell Brook fought Frankie Gavin, who is basically the same level, and did exactly the same thing, knocked him out in 6 rounds. And in the eyes of a lot of people, that proved that Kell Brook was a bum, that, well, it didn't prove anything, it was against nobody. And when I've tried to tell people in the past that I think that Kell Brook is the best fighter and the best welterweight, people have told me, oh, based on what? Apart from Sean Porter, what has he done? And like, oh, he's beating people like Frankie Gavin and this kind of, they're nothing, doesn't prove anything. But Errol Spence has done basically the same thing, and this proves that he's now the best out there. Now, personally, that's not a knock on Errol Spence, by the way, because I think they both deserve credit. I gave Kell Brook credit for it, and to me, I always look at the performance, and I don't get too caught up in who it was against, because when it's as dominant as that, and just looking at in both these cases, they're quite similar. In both of them, you can just see like this is a very, very good performance, and like you've just blasted out someone who isn't on your level. So for me, I gave a lot of credit to that Kell Brook performance, and I'm giving it a lot now. I'm just making the point because a lot of people who I've said who in the past who've probably basically said that well, Kell Brook, hasn't done anything apart from like Sean Porter, and now saying that this proves that Errol Spence is the best out there. When to me, he's basically the same thing. Leonard Bundu beat him, but it's very, very close. Leonard Bundu's never been stopped, neither is Frankie Gavin. Frankie Gavin's also a lot more defensively minded. So he's kind of the whole fight, like getting away, trying to, not really giving you many opportunities to hit him at all. Whereas Leonard Bundu was kind of going he was going toe to toe with Errol Spence. So yeah, I just wanted to make that point. Not a knock on Errol Spence, just that people should recognise that Kell Brook as well is a very serious opponent for Errol Spence, and that's how he does with opponents like that. People can say, oh well, in the past he's had a couple of problems. It's true, he has had a couple of poor performances like Carson Jones, etc. But recently, he would have blasted out Leonard Bundu in the same fashion, in my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point. Errol Spence, very, very good performance. In terms of what he's going to do now, I doubt his next fight is going to be against Kell Brook. I think that Kell Brook, looking at the 30-day weigh-in, and he weighed like 170 pounds or something. He's obviously we know he's been struggling for a long time to make welterweight. I remember him couldn't 3 years ago against the rematch Carson Jones. They fought at catch weight of 152. He's obviously thinking now, this is a great opportunity for me, not just to make a load of money, well obviously that's and the legacy, but also to not have to make 147. So having gone up to 160 or whatever it is he'll weigh on fight night, I think it's very, very unlikely that he will come back down to 147. Especially when you consider that there's quite a good chance that he's going to take a lot of punishment in this fight and potentially going to need a lot of time to recuperate. So I find, all things considered, unlikely that he's going to fight Kell Brook in his next fight, which is a real shame because for me, I'm a big fan of Keith Thurman as well, and I think I'd love to see any of those three really fight each other. But I do think that really Errol Spence and Kell Brook would be a kind of 50-50 fight, and would be possibly the only opponent that could really stand up to the other one physically, with skill as well. Because you have like Sean Porter, people like that, but Errol Spence and Kell Brook, they're not the same, but they're both very skillful, very technically very good, and very powerful. And I think like Kell Brook potentially would be strong enough to deal with Errol Spence's kind of infighting, and when he's trying to wrap you up and rough you up, hit you. I think Kell Brook could deal with that. I'm not sure if Keith Thurman could, and also Errol Spence could deal with it from Kell Brook as well. Kell Brook likes to kind of muscle people around, push them back, hit them with good combinations. I think he'd probably find that quite hard with Errol Spence. I think they really would be a good match for each other. So that's unfortunate. Well, we don't know what's going to happen, but my prediction is that won't happen. Hopefully they'll fight at 154, because it's very likely that's where Kell Brook's going to end up. And looking at Errol Spence last night, I would not be surprised if he ends up there very soon. I mean, he's a big lump compared to Bundu, who just looked tiny compared to him. And he's just got a big frame, Spence, as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in 154 soon. If he does, that would be a fight that I would very much like to see. What I think he probably will do then, it's most likely he'll end up fighting for a vacant title. In terms of the IBF, who's in their rankings, um, well, I think a couple of them have already ducked him, haven't they, for this opportunity? I think they said to, I think apparently they've offered it to quite a few people already, and they're like, no, I don't really fancy that. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, looking at the people in there, you've got Ponomarev, the Russian. I think he may have been one of the ones who, at least at this point, didn't want to take this fight. So Bundu had to step up instead. You've got Jeff Horn, the Australian. To be honest, I don't know much about him. Lamont Peterson, um, Bradley Skeet, he's English. He no chance at all against Errol Spence. Berto in there. I mean, Berto's at least kind of like got a bit of experience. He's been in there with some good names. He's big, tough. Um, Possibly Lamont Peterson might take the fight if that's. And I don't know if like Pomerev or Jeff Horn will step up to the plate. But my suspicion is that any of these people, that the only people I really see that could give Errol Spencer, could beat him, would be Thurman, Brook, and possibly Sean Porter. As I say, Brook I don't think will be there. Possibly will, but it's doubtful. Thurman, he's got mandatory anyway, hasn't he, for his belt? And presumably Errol Spence is going to want to fight for the title. So yeah, possibly going to be against, Andre Berto, maybe Lamont Peterson. But out of all those, whoever it is, I think he's gonna beat them. When he's got that, then we'll see what happens. Then maybe the likes of Keith Thurman, um, Sean Porter, possibly. I mean, if none of these, I mean, I don't know if they can't get someone to fight for it straight away, then Sean Porter would be someone who would step up to the plate definitely. Keith Thurman's obviously got more to lose. He would do. He would take it, in my opinion. But I think he'll take it when it's when it's like a unification fight, or obviously he's not going to take it before this mandatory challenger. So someone like Sean Porter, he fights anyone. He doesn't care, and he's already lost a couple of times. So yeah, he would definitely take it, and that would be a real challenge, much more of a challenge than anyone that's in the IBF rankings, from what I can see, apart from obviously Kell, Brook. But yeah, so yeah, in summary, very impressed by Errol Spence, and he's going to be very difficult to beat. It's going to take a very good man to beat him. That's all I'm saying. Right, well, thank you for watching, and see you next time.